Hello students, in this video I am going to explain one of the important chapter for CBSE 8th, that is friction. Okay, let's start children. What is friction? Frictional force. Okay, friction is actually force, a force that opposes the motion of an object when the object is in contact with another object, okay, or surface. Is called as frictional force, children. They may ask you the definition. Okay, friction. So force resisting the relative motion of solid surface, the fluid layers, and the material elements sliding against each other is called as friction. So it slows down or stops the motion of an object, children. For example, the example of friction in our daily life. Ball rolling on the floor stops after some time due to the friction. So if you roll a ball, children, what happens? After some times, it will stop because of the frictional force only. Large force is required to move a heavy box because of the friction, okay, which opposes the motion. Once the applied force is greater than the frictional force, the object move. Okay, this two person you can see is pushing the box. If the force applied is more than the frictional force, then only the box will move. Otherwise, the box won't move. Yes or no? Next. Cause of friction, children. Very, very important. They may ask for 2 marks. Okay. Discuss the cause of friction. There are two causes of friction. First one, interlocking of irregularity projections of the two surfaces in contact. You can see whenever the two surfaces are in contact, children, so you can see there are irregularities in the surfaces. Okay. And next, cold welding between the two surfaces in contact. So these are the two regions which you can write. So here you can see up surface and down surface, irregular surfaces, irregularities are there. Here also you can see large normal force is there. Okay. Here. Next, direction of frictional force. Frictional force is tangential to the surface in the contact and always act opposite to the direction of motion of the object. If the force motion is in this direction, left side, so friction force will be on the right hand side. Yes or no? Next, types of friction. Okay, we have mainly three types of friction, children: static friction, sliding friction, and rolling friction, which you'll see in the next slides. Okay, factor affecting frictions. See, friction is a necessary evil. They may ask you this question for 2 marks. So friction has both harmful and beneficial effect, and hence it is called as necessary evil. One can walk because ground offers friction. In the case of less friction, walking becomes almost possible. Thus, friction is necessary. Even simple tasks like walking. Example, sole of shoes have grooves on them. Groove soles offer more friction to the ground, which gives a better grip while walking. Shoes with worn out soles can be slippery, children. Yes or no? So that's why it is called as necessary. Okay, what is a static friction? Let's talk about the types of friction, children. Static friction. Static friction is friction between two or more solid objects that are not moving relative to each other. Example, a static friction can prevent the object from sliding down a sloped surface. You see, this is sloped surface, an object is kept, but it is not moving because of the static friction. Okay. See, this girl is pushing this on a block, but this box is not moving because of the static friction. Next, sliding friction. Okay. So when one body slides over the surface of another body, the resistance to its motion is okay, is there due to the sliding friction. Example, rubbing both hands together to create heat. A sledge sliding across snow or ice. Skies sliding against snow. A person sliding down a slide is an example of sliding friction. Some examples are written, children. An iron being pressed across material, a coaster sliding across a table, a frame and the edge of door sliding against each other. These are the example of sliding friction you can see. Next, rolling friction. When a body rolls over the surface of another body, the resistance of motion is there. That is due to the rolling friction. Rolling friction reduces rolling actually reduces the friction actually. Okay, it is always easier to roll than slide a body over another. Okay, example, luggage is fitted luggage, if luggage is fitted with wheels, so that no, one can roll the luggage easily because rolling friction is lesser than the sliding friction. Yes or no? Next, can friction be zero? Can we reduce friction to zero? No, children. Okay. So here a question he is asking. Can we reduce friction to zero by polishing surfaces or using large amount of lubricants? Friction can never be entirely eliminated. No surface is perfectly smooth. Some irregularities are always, some irregularities are always there, children. Yes or no? So friction never be zero because of no surface are perfectly smooth. Yes or no? Next concepts we talk about methods to increase the friction. This question may be asked for 2 to 3 marks. Ways to reduce friction. Okay, so first one you can write applying floor wax and polishing the surfaces. Next, by putting grease, oil, and other lubricating liquids in engines and machines. Next, stretching vehicle to reduce friction causes by air. Example, streamline na front of the planes. Next, by using rotating objects, example, ball bearings and wheels. So these are the methods by which we can reduce the friction. What we can say? By applying oil, grease, wax, by putting grease, yes or no? By streamline body. Okay, you can see that front part of the aeroplanes are what? Streamlined actually. Okay, just like in the shape of uh, fish body or a bird's body, so that less friction is offered. And by using ball bearings also we can reduce the friction. Friction can never be entirely eliminated. No surface is perfectly smooth. You can see the note at the bottom. Some irregularities are always there. Ways to increase the friction, this also is important, children. Okay, by making the surface very rough, you can see in the case of tires. Okay, by making irregular projections and depressions like those we see on the tires and shoes. Example, tires are treated, okay, to increase friction. Vehicles with treads on the tires offer more friction, which gives better grip and a road grip. Soles of shoes are treated to increase the frictions. Yes or no, children? Next, advantage of friction. Yes, in a friction is a necessary will. In that also you can add these points. Okay, how why it is important. Enables us to walk and run. A running car, a bicycle uses the friction to stop. Yes or no? Striking a matchstick produces fire. Okay, friction enables belt to cling to pulleys. Yes or no? Enables nails and the screws to hold objects together. Okay, so these are the advantages you can write. Disadvantage of friction, yes, produces heat that causes objects to wear out. Example, wear and tear of machinery parts, soles, sleepers, tires, and anything that are used for moving. Now, wastage of energy also happens due to the friction, children. And a friction reduces the speed of a moving objects. Example, aeroplanes cannot fly at greater speed that they are capable of because of air friction. Friction, no? Next, causes sparks, overheating, and machine breakdown. It can cause the forest fire. It can make the speeding objects to tumble down and causes accidents. Okay. So these are the disadvantages you can write. Okay, ways to reduce the friction. Okay, by applying floor wax and polishing the surface. Important question, children, 3 marks. Okay, by applying the floor wax, we can reduce the friction. By putting grease, oil, and other lubricating liquids in the engines and machines. Stretching vehicles to reduce friction, okay, caused by the air. Same, and a streamlined front of the planes and using rotating objects like ball bearings. I hope it is clear, children. Okay, same slides are repeating. Okay, last concept, children, fluid friction. Okay, so the resistance exhibited by the fluid surface is called as fluid friction. Okay, or also called as viscous drag. The frictional force exerted by the fluid is called as viscous drag or just drag, you can write. When the object moves through the fluid, they have to overcome friction, okay, acting on them. Okay, so efforts are therefore made to minimize the friction. Hence, the such objects have or are given a streamlined shape. Example, birds, fishes, aeroplanes have a streamlined shapes to reduce the friction. Okay, you can see here aeroplane is there. Okay, birds is there, fish. Their body is called as a streamlined. Okay, which helps them to reduce the friction in while moving in water. Okay, that's why the many ships in water submarines are made in streamlined bodies. Okay, to reduce the friction. Understood? So whenever any body moves in a fluid, one opposing force is experienced in the water while moving. That is called as fluid friction. Okay, I hope you understood this concept, children. Please subscribe the channel. Okay, and share with your friends. Wish you all the best for your exams. Thank you.